This is a Davis in Sanford. It's called a floating action tripod. I think this is the Model B. It's hard for me to tell. The sticker is really worn out. They made them in Model A and a Model B. These are really old studio tripods. They probably would have been meant for medium or large format cameras. And if you can find one, they're usually really inexpensive. And I like them for a lot of reasons. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit here. Hello, my name's Steve. I'm an amateur photographer. I enjoy using old studio equipment, typically old packs and flash heads and old monoblocks, but also some grip equipment and tripods, or in this case, a tripod. So, I'm not going to get into should someone use a tripod or should they not? I don't always use one, but they do offer in a studio when you're doing product or still life a couple of what I would say really nice advantages. And one is when you tend to build out a set, you're bringing in your light or lights, you're setting up a composition, you're figuring out where you want the camera and the camera angle. And once you get each of those steps kind of to the point that you want it to be at, then you can lock it down. So for me, locking down the composition can mean putting the camera on a tripod, and then I can highly repeat those photographs let's say I'm fine tuning the lighting. When I do studio work, for product photography. What I really enjoy is a tripod that's going to be a little bit heavy and one that is not going to move that easily if I bump into it. And this one certainly fits that bill. It's somewhere between 11 and 12 pounds. I think in the configuration that you're looking at it here, it's probably 3 feet, 3.5 feet tall. I think when you extend the column, the center column, as well as the legs, maybe 7 feet. I haven't really measured it. Certainly, without extending the center column, you can, I think, get it up to well over 5 feet. So it goes large if you need it to, and certainly in its lowest position, it's very stable. And everything that you're looking at here is oversized, and that's one of the things I wanted to try to point out um, in the uh, in the video. So, when I bought this, I wasn't really sure, what it was going to be until I actually got there and looked at it. I bought it locally for about $80. Surprisingly, there's still another one for sale for $80. I'm in the Seattle area. It's probably been for sale for 6, 7 months. But what I mean by oversized is if you take a look at the center column here, there's a couple of things you'll note. One is it's not a normal screw-on head. The head actually clamps on top of the center column, and the center column's pretty large. It's just under 2 inches in diameter. It's about the size of a tennis ball in terms of its diameter. And it is a floating action head, and by that, it actually, there's a spring inside of the center column. And let's see if I can show a shot of that. When you loosen the knob and let the center column rise, if you're not careful, it could actually bump you in the face, some people would say. So the way they've accommodated for that is there's this kind of piece of metal that hangs from the tripod head, and that is ideally supposed to go underneath the tripod. I can't get mine all the way down to do that, so I just have some cord and a carabiner, and that's how I make sure that it doesn't sort of spring loose when I don't want it to. But the the head is large. It is, let's see, I wrote it down. Well, it's 6 inches by 3 inches by, well, I guess it's 6 by 3.5 inches. And there's multiple spots that you can screw in your camera. I don't screw my camera in. I use an Arca clamp that works really well. I put it in this configuration because it allows me to flip it so that if I want to go from landscape to portrait, I can easily rotate the head. But yeah, it's an oversized head, way more than you would need for a DSLR or a mirrorless camera. Um, and the controls for it are those knobs. So the long knob that you're looking at that goes from left to right is how you tilt it up and down. The little short knob is how you tilt it from left to right. And that's pretty wild too. If you take the head off, there's actually a metal post that it sits on. And it, like the other parts of this tripod, that metal post is rather big. So, no problems with the head. It typically will come with a head. So, if you think about it, you're getting a super strong, relatively tall tripod with a super strong tripod head for usually under $100. And some of the other ways that I like to use this, and one of the main reasons that I bought it is because for that $80 price, it actually came with a sidearm. And this is the same, 2-inch roughly piece of pipe. I should say the whole thing is mostly made out of aluminum, but even made out of aluminum, it's over 10 pounds. And with this sidearm, you can raise and lower it. You can actually put it on the bottom of the tripod. I've never done that, but you can configure it that way. There's a leg that sticks out of the bottom of it in case you want to get it down onto the ground. It's just really, really, really well thought out in terms of how someone might go about using it. So, what are the drawbacks to this? Well, it's big, it's kind of heavy, it's old. It's made by a company that people don't associate with studio equipment. So Davis and Sanford is still in business today. I think they're owned by a company called Tiffin. And, you might look at some of their stuff and think that it is not of the highest quality. This is old. It works today almost as good as it would have when it was brand new. It is going to sit wherever you put it in your studio. You don't have to worry about knocking it over. If you are even remotely worried about that, you can hang a weight from it. I've hung 15-pound weights from this thing, and it's I don't worry about anything on the tripod getting bent, even by putting that kind of weight on it. So just a really nice way to have a very stable platform so that you can get highly repeatable results as you build out your set. And this is kind of the set that I used. It's I guess a 3x4 softbox. There's a black Duvetine that is providing the background. I have a Calumet boom arm that I've done a video on that allows me to easily raise and lower the softbox. And in this case, I have the softbox above and slightly in front of the tripod. So the photograph that I'm taking is actually on another little tripod that I have, and I kind of tried to get into that earlier. I like to put things on a tripod when I'm composing scenes like this because I want the composition to be repeatable, and often there's minor adjustments with the lighting or the background or whatever, is you're just trying to get the thing dialed in. So once you get something where you want it, then you lock it down and you go on to the next part of the puzzle.